Hello, everybody. Hello, my dear students, potential mobile developers. And we continue. We continue our lessons. And actually, today we start a second part of the course. Because the first part, I think 13 lessons was basically theory, essential skills. We explained essential widgets. We talked a little bit about Java, about design, about wiring. So it was a foundation. The second part of the course is we practice. So we are going to pick a simple theme, color mixer. So it's very common idea to create in your app something to mix colors, so your user can create different colors in a color mixer. And we are going to uh, make like variations on a theme. So we are going to try color mixer with different widgets. So second part of the course is practical. We will try different widgets, and you see 11 essential widgets we cover in our course on the left. You see 6 essential events on the right, and of course you should understand that different widgets may trigger different events. So this relationships part is also very important. Which widget can start or trigger or produce which event. When you start programming, you have to memorize the full names of the event listeners, because you're gonna type them in your coding. And if you type the name of the listener properly, then Android Studio going to generate automatically for you event handler. So in this this particular table, you see on the left generic events names, but on the right you see their exact names, the names you're supposed to know by heart, and you're supposed to type them in order to create event handlers. And of course, never forget about big picture, how classes related in Java, relationship between different classes, because any widget has a class behind. And you see on the left side of the diagram containers or layout managers, classes, or sorry, widgets that may contain other widgets. On the right side, you see simple widgets. So diagram is divided by a vertical line, and what you see on the left is containers. On the right, you see simple widgets. Simple widget cannot have inside itself anything. You cannot have inside text view another text view. But inside linear layout, yes, you can nest, you can put nested linear layouts. So this is crucial information for the whole course. And I just quickly repeat it. 11 widgets, 6 events, relationship, exact names for the listeners and classes behind widgets. What is red? It's what we cover. So we cover in our course basically stuff in red color. So what would be the app? So let me show you how it's going to work. So I'm going to create a linear layout, simple linear layout. Linear layout is invisible, of course. You don't see it on the screen, it's organizer. And inside my linear layout, by the way, a linear layout may be vertical or horizontal. In my situation, it's vertical. So in a linear layout, I have 4 widgets. Text, checkbox, 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 and text view. So today topic is checkbox. That's what you see at the bottom of my tree. So we are going to practice with the checkboxes, and by checking them you can mix different colors. So if everything is checked, it's white. If everything is unchecked, it's black. So you see, manipulating checkboxes, I'm producing or mixing different colors. Checkbox is both a square and a text. And my text view widget doesn't have any text. I'm using it just to show the colors. So that's very simple application or app, and it's demonstrating us checkbox, and let's develop. So now I can go to my Android Studio, and I can start creating the application. So maybe in order to make it faster, I should copy paste the code. Okay, we can do it later on. So I am closing my Android virtual device. I'm going to my Android Studio. I start a new project. So let me just copy paste the existing stuff, so later on it's gonna be faster for us. Okay, I'm closing. I start or create new project. Empty activity is my template. Java is my language. Let's call it mixing colors. Good. So basic files are being created. You see activity in the status bar. As I said, I want to have simple linear layout. So I'm creating brand new linear layout. I call it main layout. You see the type linear. So it's done. Now in my Java code, I have to now change. I don't want a constraint layout generated by default. So I'm substitute my new linear layout, and now I can get rid of this one. I right click, I delete, And here we are. So I can start developing design. And if you remember, um, layout, linear layout can be vertical or horizontal. By default, it's horizontal. So before you change attributes, please click on your widget in component tree. So orientation now going to be vertical. It makes sense to make, to set up padding, some space around the edge of the screen. So let's make it 15 dp padding. And widgets. So I'm going to drag and drop checkbox, red color, checkbox for green color, and checkbox for my blue color. And I'm going to create a text view just to show the colors. So again, I don't drag and drop here on my device screen because you may damage by accident your layout. So it is safer to drag and drop your widgets to the component tree. Okay, so basically this is just a warning, yellow message you can ignore. What would be the text of my checkbox? Red. So I type in the text attribute, new text. What would be the next one? Green. And what would be this one? Blue. And for the text view, as I said, I don't need any text because I'm going to just change the background to demonstrate different colors. So I'm removing any text for my text view. No text. Okay, that's good. Let's try it. So let me pick up Lollipop API 25, Nexus 5. Let me run it. I think it's the old app, the app I just did to demonstrate. So let me close it. Let's run one more time. Yes, that's the new one. And you see now checkbox may have two states. So of course I need to adjust the sizes because I want the mixing area to be larger to occupy the let's say 50% of my screen. The text, let's make it bold. So I'm gonna make text size well, text size I can set up through the XML. So I think what I want to change, it's a bold text style. So bold is text style attribute. And now let's create, because I don't want to put size of my checkboxes directly into attributes. I want to put them in a separate file. I'm gonna call it dimensions. I do right click on values, new, resource file, dimensions. And I need just one dimension for the text of my check buttons. So let's define dimension for my checkbox text. Okay, that's done. Now I can go to my layout, checkbox text size, so I can highlight 3 widgets and text size. I'm clicking on the right, pick a resource, and that's my size. Now it's very easy to adjust all 3 widgets because sizes are separated. So I can just make it any size I like. Scalable pixels. So done. And of course, when you start your app, because all colors are unchecked, text view must be black. So I select text view in my component tree and I set up background as black. Let's run it. Watch your status bar. Don't rush. And if I look at my emulator, I see everything is good, but I have to change the size of my text view. So how do you control items sizes if you use linear layout? You can provide weight. Weight, it's approximately percentage, how much a widget can occupy. So I'm going to assign 1 for red, 1 for green, 1 for blue, and 3 for text view. So this way, my text view going to occupy 50% of my screen. So weights 1, 1, 1, and 3. If you working with the weight, you have to put 0 to the height. So you're supposed to tell system, don't worry about height. You have to just use the weight. So I select all 4 components. I'm going to layout height, attribute, and I type 0 dp. And now I can set up the weight. So checkboxes, weight, layout weight is 1. But for the text view, the layout weight is 3. So that's better. Let me run it. Good. Let's rotate. And you see it's still 50%. So my text view still occupying 50%. Maybe this is too much, by the way. The size for the text, maybe it's uh, too much. So let's reduce a little bit. Dimensions 30. Okay, so design is done. I can start wiring. I can now connect event handlers to my checkboxes and I can produce simple messages, toast messages, just to make sure my um, buttons, three buttons, they trigger certain process. So I'm going to go to my main activity now and how to catch this event. Well, first of all, let's think about which one I'm going to process. So technically speaking, checkbox can produce two different events on click. So anytime you click on the checkbox, doesn't matter, uncheck or check, you're going to receive this uh, message. So on click, it's kind of, let's say, low level message. This is more advanced message because you're going to also receive the state of your checkbox, if it's checked or it's unchecked. So I decide to process this event. And by the way, don't forget, we have another unchecked change event, but it's different. It's triggered by a radio group. So that's why they have different listeners' names. So I'm going to catch this one, but there is also similar listener with the similar name, but it belongs to radio group. So I'm not working with number 3, I'm working with number 2. Okay, so let's try to do wiring. So how to catch? You have to now implement an interface. And now you see red color. That means you have to import compound button class to your application. So just press Alt Enter. So it is imported. You see line 6, Alt Enter. Android Studio automatically imported the class I need, but event handler not yet created. You have to now see the red bulb. You have to click on it and you have to click implement methods. Now I'm pressing OK. And here we are. That's my event handler, lines 19 to 21. And I can now check if it's working. I can check the wiring. But before we start, of course, Java coding, you have to make sure your widgets in your design, they have meaningful IDs. So let's check this one. So ID attribute is maybe super important, and I use prefixes to make it clear. So let's call this one CBX red. CBX red. This one CBX green. And this one is CBX blue. So IDs are important for your widgets because later on in Java code, you're going to identify your widgets by their IDs. Okay, so let's try one more time. Let's make sure I have no error messages. Oh, I didn't press enter, so let's do it. CBX blue, enter. And when you see message rename, click refactor. Now it's done. So my 3 widgets, they have IDs, so I can manipulate them. And text view also supposed to have ID. The prefix going to be txt, and the name is color. Let's call it color. Let's double check, by the way, what was it in the old application. Oh, new color. New color, okay. Let's call it txt new color. Refactor, and my IDs are done. I can now start my coding. So first of all, what I need in my class, for each widget, I need a field. So I declare now my widgets CBX red. Again, if you see red color for your class, press Alt Enter, import. Now let's copy paste CBX green, CBX blue. I need, of course, text view. Text view, txt new color. So widgets declared, but I may also need 3 integer variables in order to manipulate, do a simple arithmetics with the colors. It's just a model. Sometimes we call those numbers model, something behind your view. Int green, and I can now instantiate. So in order to display widgets in your app, it's not enough to declare them as a fields in your class. You have to instantiate. So CBX red, Find view by ID. Find view by ID, and now the name of my ID. So what I see is error message, so I have to double check. Probably I made a mistake when I assign in IDs. So let's double check what is my ID for this checkbox. ID. Yes, I didn't rename. CBX underscore red. And now you see it's gone. So line 23, I instantiate widget. Now it's going to be displayed on my screen. The same for green and blue. And of course, I have to instantiate a text view. TXT new color must be instantiated. Always use suggestions. Android Studio always trying to help you when you type. And you see why prefixes are convenient to use, because I can use the same names for both widgets and their IDs. When I name it in Java, I use capital. When I name them in XML, I use underscore to separate words. This is done. In order to trigger events, you have to do registration. So let's do the registration. Without registration, your event won't work. So registration is called set on checked change listener. So set on checked change listener, and you provide this keyword to register event handler. So after what I typed in line 27, red checkbox going to trigger event handler. Let's check it if I can see. So the easiest way to check is to use a toast class. Toast class. So first is I think the address of your activity, this, and second is actual text. I want to show a message, and finally how long you're gonna keep the message on your screen. Let's make it short and show. So you have to just memorize this long line and line 33. Line 33. Remember how to produce a short message in Android. Toast, make text, the address of your activity, the message, is it long or short, and finally you have to call show method. So this line you just should know by heart. And now what I expect? I expect that my red checkbox going to trigger event, but the other two, they won't, because I haven't yet registered them. So I'm clicking on the run button, and if I click red, I do see the message. And it doesn't matter if I'm checking or unchecking. Remember, my message related to changing the state of the checkbox. But if I click here, you see nothing happened because I didn't register. So let's copy paste. And let's try one more time. And make sure now all checkboxes, they do trigger on checked change function. Excellent. So second step of application development is done. We finished wiring. Now we can basically complete the app, and we have to write the logic of the application. In order to make it faster, I'm just going to copy paste the stuff from my application. So I just want to save your time, and here we are. Compound button not imported. Oh, it's called button view. So the name of the variable is button view. I'm gonna explain, of course, I'm gonna explain what happens here, how actually we miss the colors. So let's take a look. Function or method, it is triggered by operating system, so we call it event handler. So this is event handler. It's not the method you run. It's triggered by operating system. And here you see the address of the button, so I can check using this parameter. I can check which button was pressed. So it's quite common when you have just one event handler, but for many widgets, because you can identify them. And this is the status of the newly checked or unchecked buttons. So by checking this, I can identify what happened. And color class not imported, I have to press Alt Enter, and that's it. So let's analyze the logic. So line 37, I'm checking the button ID, and if my button red, I'm checking the state of the checkbox. So if it's checked, I put to integer variable red 255 maximum value for the color. If it's unchecked, I put 0. If it's not red button, I'm going to line 41. I'm checking if it's green and do the same for the green color. And finally, if it's not green, I'm going to line 45 to 48. And I'm doing the same with the blue color. And finally, set background color changes the text view color. And in RGB method, I combine three colors together. So line 49 does the actual mixing. And it changes the background of text view widget. So let's try it. Let's run. Okay. And you see I can combine. I can get cyan color, I can get yellow color, and I can get purple color by combining red component and blue component. So my application is done. It is finished. Congratulations. Look one more time at the coding. So we declared 4 widgets. We declared 3 integer variables. Sometimes we call this model, and we call this view. Model view controller. Then I did instantiation. So I instantiated 4 widgets. If you don't instantiate, they won't appear on your screen. I registered event handlers, lines 30 to 32. And finally, I provided the logic of my application. So I have only one method to handle checking, unchecking events. I identify which button was pressed. I identify what was the state of the button. And based on that information, I mix or set up the right color for my text view. So that's a demo application, and now you see how to manipulate checkboxes, how to work with them. And next lessons we are going to do similar app, but using radio buttons, virtual keyboard, edit text, spinners, and so on. Don't forget, our course is not just one video, it's 20, more than 20 short lessons. And at the end of the lesson, you always see the links to the next lessons, and of course, subscribe link. You can subscribe to my channel, and of course, your likes are highly appreciated. Thank you very much. All the best to you. See you soon.